Mr. Sam Waldock. Please, can we give him a round of applause? Can we welcome him, please?
Good morning, everybody. Honourable Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Honourable Minister for Industry, Trade and Investment, represented by the Permanent Secretary, Registrar General, Executive Secretary of the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, ICPC Chair, OGP Co-Chair Dr. Tayo. I stand on existing protocols. It's a real pleasure to be with you all this morning. As the gentleman said, my name is Sam Waldock. I'm the Head of Governance, Conflict and Social Development at the British High Commission in Abuja. And I want to start this morning by congratulating the federal government and the Open Government Partnership for the excellent progress in establishing the Register of Beneficial Owners. It's fantastic to see the legislation's now passed, and it's fantastic to see the progress implementing it in the extractive centre. It's a real good move forward. Public access to information about who really owns companies is very, very important. Secret company ownership is very complex. It can often be a spider's web, enabling corrupt individuals to hide stolen public assets. This is why having an open and accessible register of beneficial ownership is so important. And in order to end the criminal abuse of companies, the UK believes the world needs efficient ways to share and to access high-quality information about who owns companies and who controls them. Where we fail to do this, corrupt elites and ruthless criminals will be able to act with impunity. And the UK was the first country in the G20 to implement a central register of beneficial ownership. It shows who ultimately controls and owns UK companies. The People with Significant Control Register was launched in 2016. It's free to access, and it includes over 4.6 million names. So we as the UK are walking the talk on this, and we feel very strongly that Nigeria should be very proud of this step forward in publishing its own register. This is an excellent first step. It sends a clear message that Nigeria is serious about tackling this issue. The UK will keep supporting Nigeria as a key partner in its journey to complete the beneficial ownership process. Because in a global world, in a global economy where money flows so easily across borders, it's more important than ever that we all work together to tackle this shared problem effectively. This is very much a global problem and a global issue, and Nigeria has taken the lead in this area. And Nigeria now sits on the OGP steering committee, which is fantastic. And we hope that Nigeria will use this seat on the steering committee to use the platform to inspire others to follow Nigeria's lead on beneficial ownership. It's a great opportunity. I want to speak now about the Open Government Partnership. The UK is extremely supportive of Nigeria's Open Government Partnership journey. Nigeria's progress on OGP has been commendable. And the UK is proud to have provided significant support to the process. Nigeria's National Action Plan is strong. And we all know that it's obviously easier to write good plans than to implement them. But of course, the implementation of this excellent plan will be critically important. We believe that through the reforms in the National Action Plan, Nigeria can showcase how open government can deliver results citizens really care about. And of course, the Open Government Partnership enjoys a good level of political support in Nigeria, high-level support, which is excellent. But it's vital that the Open Government Partnership community keeps driving awareness of this important agenda, to keep broadening the political support so the agenda can be sustained, so that the National Action Plan commitments can be delivered. And that's why events like this are so important to raise awareness. We also want to note that it's very commendable Nigeria has revised its OGB action plan in response to COVID and the challenges around police reform. Important new commitments were added in these areas. But of course, the OGB has never just been about commitments on paper, it's about delivery. And so progress needs to be institutionalised. And like with anything in life, resources and staffing are needed to drive the progress and ensure follow-up. And that's why it's so encouraging to see in the 2021 budget there's provision for recurrent budget lines related to the OGP. It's a really good step forward. It's an encouraging way towards institutionalising the OGP. And we look forward to these funds enabling the timely and effective functioning of the OGP Secretariat. As the UK, we're fully aligned behind the OGP's vision that governments become more transparent, more accountable, and more responsive to the needs of citizens. And this is one of the reasons why the UK is so supportive of the move to create financial autonomy for state judiciaries and state houses of assembly. Although this change isn't in the Open Government Partnership Action Plan, it's very much in the spirit of the process. Finally, I want to touch on the role of civil society. Nigeria's civil society, and they're represented strongly here today, are some of the strongest in the world on open government. And when civil society and government work together, it can be utterly transformational. Civil society are key partners for both helping implement these reforms and for ensuring accountability of these reforms. And the UK has supported civil society engagement in the Open Government Partnership since 2015. We've provided more than £50 million to support democratic accountability and open societies over the last 5 years as the UK. And one of the great strengths of the open government process in Nigeria is that it provides a platform for this engagement between government and civil society. It shows what can happen when civil society and government form a strong bond and are able to move things forward together. So we really welcome it. So to conclude, His Excellency President Buhari made two important commitments at the London Anti-Corruption Summit in 2016. The first was to implement a central register for beneficial ownership. And the second was that Nigeria would join the Open Government Partnership. And it's been fantastic to see the progress in both areas. We believe that by continuing to institutionalise the Open Government Partnership in Nigeria, continuing to grow the political support, continuing to have strong civil society engagement, the OGP will keep delivering for Nigeria, delivering results that citizens really care about and improving citizens' lives. Thank you very much.
All protocols observed. It's just to thank our goodwill messengers for delivering such apt, articulate, and complementing messages that convey the weight of the event of today. A lot has been said about OGP, and I'll try not to overburden this platform with repetitions. But I think it's crucial to note that it is fundamental to our national transformation, particularly our economic transformation, that OGP succeeds. Because, as we know, one of the binding constraints to Nigeria's sustainable economic development and growth is corruption. And we just have to say it as it is, that's what it is. Therefore, there is no future sustainable, competitive, inclusive economic growth without a set of actors at the core of governance reform tackling the complex systemic problems around corruption. OGP, therefore, offers us this unique platform that is ably resourced with strong government institutions on one hand, and my brothers and sisters from the civil society and the non-state actor community across the country to come together to identify national commitments which are then enshrined in a national action plan. We want to thank our partners in government for the implementation of NAP1 as non-state actors. We've enjoyed a beautiful partnership that, in spite of resource challenges in NAP1, allowed us to make progress. We've also celebrated, interestingly, committed OGP government actors who are representatives of their institutions becoming chief executives in the last 1 year. Registrar General of the Corporate Affairs Commission, congratulations again. And my brother, Executive Secretary of NAITI, Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative. Can you give them a hand? Just congratulate them for me. It also shows that the reward for hard work is more work, because now they've been saddled with driving these important institutions at a time that is crucial to the OGP to get results in some of these key commitment areas. Ladies and gentlemen, illicit financial flows from the extractive sector still accounts by all studies for the highest outflows in Nigeria. And one of the most formidable ways for which we are losing money is through misinvoicing that then goes into packets of commercial interests that are then hidden because we cannot identify the final beneficiaries in these companies. This is a problem. This is how money is being stolen from all of us as a collective. Therefore, in practical terms, a roadmap today to discuss beneficiary ownership is not just crucial for OGP, it's crucial for Nigerians. If we can identify when money goes missing, where it went missing, and who it landed, whose account it landed in, and the person's name, we can begin to take back stolen assets, or at least create corruption resistant systems, one of which is this public register of open beneficiaries. I want to congratulate my co-chair, state actor, the Honorable Minister of State Budget and National Planning, Prince Clem Agba, for what is a well set up OGP week. I want to congratulate the members of the National Steering Committee for convening this event. And I want to just lay 3 things to heart as we go into this week. Number 1, if we fail to implement NAP 2 and commitments like the Open Beneficiary Register, Nigeria fails. And the problems we are dealing with get worse. So we cannot afford to fail. Number 2, at a point where there's growing tensions across the country because of governance or misgovernance at different levels, national, subnational, and local, there is pressure and urgency from citizens to see greater accountability, greater transparency, and greater reform action. Number 3 is, if we do what is in this NAP 2, Nigeria will be a different place. That's if we improve fiscal transparency, extractive transparency, anti-corruption, access to information, citizen engagement, drive inclusion, and service delivery. This will be a different country, and we can all attest to the issues it raises. Therefore, I heartily commend the 4th point, which is reform action in OGP requires a partnership. The spirit of that partnership is that we work together. We stay in the room, we have the difficult debates, we question the issues together, and that we move this ship of state forward decisively so that we bring this ship of state, like I always like to say, into its hub of national destiny, a destiny where we are free from the binding constraints of corruption and liberated to achieve our vision of shared prosperity, growth, peace, security, where every Nigerian, from cradle to grave, can say they have been served and opportuned by the environment we call the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So I wish all of you a great deliberation and great actions to follow. Thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
Goodwill message. Can we give him a round of applause, please?
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you very much. His Excellency, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, in absentia, I hope he will still come. The Honorable Minister of State for Budget and National Planning and the co-chair of the State Actors OGP, the Registrar of the Corporate Affairs Commission, the Chief Operating Officer, Non-State Actors OGP co-chair, Dr. Ann Nzegu, the Director Reform Coordination, His Excellency, the British High Commissioner in Nigeria, ably represented, the Chairman of the ICPC, the World Bank representative, the Executive Secretary, NAITI, all other protocols duly and respectfully observed. On behalf of my minister, His Excellency Otumba Richard Adeni Adebayo, who is unavoidably absent. He is today in France with Mr. President and therefore requested me to represent him. So whatever I read and say is on his behalf. And he says, "It gives me great pleasure to present the goodwill address at this media presentation on Nigeria's road to beneficial ownership Transparency Week. This year's OGP Week presents a challenge to leaders of nations to identify and improve ways in which the government serves its citizens, and rightly too, given that governments all over the world are still faced with the challenges of curbing the effect of the dreaded coronavirus pandemic, and Nigeria is not left out. Ladies and gentlemen, you may wish to note that according to the Open Ownership, a non-profit organization focused on beneficial ownership register around the world, 70% of corruption cases involve the use of anonymous companies, and to that effect, over $1 billion has been recovered by governments using beneficial ownership data. When our register is completed, it will help in government decision-making, especially around the awards of contracts, issuance of permits, and licenses. It will help decision-makers quickly determine who benefits from the operations and profits of the company so as to avoid conflict of interest or manipulation. Distinguished guests, you are also aware that the journey to establish a public register of beneficial owners commenced in 2016 at the London Summit on Anti-Corruption, where Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, committed to join the Open Government Partnership, OGP, and implement the open government principles in Nigeria. At the time of this declaration in 2016, there was no legal framework to commence the implementation of beneficial ownership disclosure in Nigeria. This necessitated the amendment of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, which Mr. President has signed in August 2020, thus paving way for the commencement of implementation of disclosure principles as we are witnessing today. The Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAMA 2020, has extensive provisions dealing with disclosure of persons with significant control, PSC, who have at least 5% of voting equity, holding or voting rights, and who are ultimate beneficial owners of such registered entities to disclose such interests. With the legal framework in place, the Public Register of Beneficial Owners, also referred to as persons with significant control, hosted by the Corporate Affairs Commission by virtue of their mandate under the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, data and beneficial owners of the companies has commenced in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, you will also recall that the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, the supervising agency, ministry of the CAC, works closely with that agency and other stakeholders in the repeal and reenactment of the Companies and Allied Matters Act of 2020 and remains committed to supporting the Corporate Affairs Commission in issuing the supporting regulations for the implementation of the new law. The Corporate Affairs Commission, through the support of OGP, has also been given approval to draw from the Multi-Donor Trust Fund, MTDF, administered by the World Bank, to support the establishment of beneficial ownership register in Nigeria. This will go a long way to conclude on critical disclosure requirements in line with the global standards and best practices. Nigeria has also indicated interest to join OGP Leadership Group to tap from the rich pool of experience presented by other implementing countries. Distinguished guests, the purpose of this gathering, therefore, is to share with you the work done so far and solicit the support of the media in enlightening the public about the importance of beneficial ownership transparency and keep Nigerians abreast of the reforms around business processes in the country. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, the ministry is committed to continue supporting and providing the necessary policy support to the Corporate Affairs Commission to fully implement the beneficial ownership disclosure principles in Nigeria. I urge you all stakeholders to join hands in making sure this noble initiative is entrenched in Nigeria. Thank you, and God bless.
The Honorable Minister of State, Budget and National Planning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen on the high table, fellow participants, other protocols observed. I think for us in Haiti, implementation of beneficial ownership in Nigeria is already happening, is real. And the EITI, Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, which Nigeria is implementing in the oil, gas, and mining sector, have gone very far with implementation. We launched our BO portal, a portal that contains names and addresses and identities of owners of oil assets. We launched the portal in Nigeria on the 19th of December 2019. At that time, we were the first country among the 54 member countries around the world to do so. It was a bold and very courageous initiative, but currently we do not also believe that all the information and data that is required on that portal is complete and has reached where we should. So we are expanding and deepening and investigating even the information that we have, expanding, hoping and waiting that the larger portal to be launched by Nigeria through the Corporate Affairs Commission will be ready. A few days ago, I had a visit to the Corporate Affairs Commission where we are currently working together to establish a joint coordination arrangement committee that will bring together all the agencies that have information and data to reach the larger portal. We come together, and that was a product of a workshop that NIT convened last month to be able to coordinate all the activities, fill in the gaps, and ensure that we are all on the same page. The benefits of BO implementation is already very well highlighted by all the various speakers. But for us in the oil, gas, and mining sector, it's much deeper. It has implication on environment, it has implication on gender, it has implication on livelihoods, it has implication on jobs. So that's why NIT has been appointed, selected among the 54 member countries. When I mean NIT, Nigeria, as a pilot country to stage a global portal that will link all the implementing countries together. We are receiving a lot of support from the World Bank. We're receiving a lot of support from the Ford Foundation, from MacArthur Foundation, and also largely from the United Nations Development Program to enlarge this project, which is just about aligning same with our automation, data automation project. So we're very delighted that today, as part of activities marking the OGP week, these initiatives are being unveiled and being presented to the media. We need the media, we need the civil society, we need all the covered entities, MDAs, government agencies, to work together for this to happen. With the media on our side, information will be open, public enlightenment will be assured, awareness will be created, and citizens' participation and trust will be built easily to enhance implementation. So on that note, Nigeria Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative is fully involved, happy and delighted to be part of this process. We thank the Honorable Minister and the co-chairs for the OGP, for the relationship, very strong relationship between the OGP and NIT, especially in the implementation of the extractive thematic.
The federal government's award, you are able to connect the dots, you are able to plug those leaks, you are able to make sure that infrastructure that is supposed to go to the ordinary Nigerians, such as myself, we find those structures available. The second perspective also is from the gender perspective. Somebody pointed out that if you look at the high table, everyone is a man. And more women are beginning to find their voices. Nigeria has committed to several international frameworks, like the Benji conference. You have the CEDAW. You have a lot of frameworks that are gender-related. Information like the beneficial ownership is a useful information coming from the gender perspective. Why do I say that?
Good morning, all. The day is already fast spent, so I am going to be standing on the existing protocols. But first, let me appreciate and welcome His Excellency, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the shortest man in the room, Boss Mustafa. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of the Nigerian Open Government Partnership National Steering Committee and the Secretariat to this media presentation on Nigeria's road to beneficial ownership transparency, which encompasses the design and development of an open register of beneficial owners of registered entities in Nigeria. I want to specially welcome my dear brother, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, and appreciate him for making time to join us today. The purpose of this gathering is a confirmation of His Excellency, Mr. President Buhari's commitment to implement open government ideals. Today's event marks the start of the Global Open Government Week for this year. For 1 week in May, since 2018, open government doers, leaders, and thinkers from around the world come together to share ideas, discuss solutions, and commit to new levels of citizen participation in government. This year's Open Government Week theme focuses on how we renew or build again government institutions and societies that are transparent, accountable, participatory, and inclusive. The Nigerian Open Government Partnership National Steering Committee has decided to focus on two critical areas of our National Action Plan. That is, rebuilding trust between the police and citizens through dialogue and the implementation of beneficial ownership transparency principles. We are gathered here today to discuss the progress so far and the road ahead of us in the implementation of a commitment made by His Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari, relating to beneficial ownership transparency at the London Anti-Corruption Summit in May 2016. At the summit, President Buhari said, and I quote, "Nigeria is committed to establishing a public central register of company beneficial ownership information. We are taking steps to ensure transparency of the ownership and control of all companies involved in the property purchase and public contracting. Nigeria is already collating this information through the Extractive Industry Initiative process and would extend it to other sectors. Nigeria will establish a transparent central register of foreign companies bidding on public contracts and buying property," unquote. Following this statement, His Excellency announced that Nigeria will be joining the Open Government Partnership, a global coalition of reformers from government and civil society working to make government transparent, participatory, and accountable to truly serve and empower citizens. Like you are aware, Nigeria has since joined OGP, and Nigeria is not just one of the 79 countries in OGP. We also now sit on the steering committee of the OGP, for which I sit on behalf of Nigeria. We have worked closely with civil society and private sector partners in the design and development of commitments in the first and second National Action Plan, and have sustained a regular multi-stakeholder forum to address challenges in the course of implementation of the plan. The road has not been easy, as this is expected in pristine partnerships such as this one, but I'm grateful for the support I have received from my colleagues on the National Steering Committee. I have often told them that the mandate I received from His Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari, was firm and clear, that everyone should be given a chance to contribute to the development and progress of our country. The Open Government Weeks presents us with an opportunity to take stock of our progress, learn lessons, lay out the road ahead, and recommit ourselves to the work ahead. So I crave your indulgence to outline some of the things that we have done so far. Revision of the 2020 budget. We held a virtual public consultation on the revision of the budget to allow government adequately respond to the pandemic by redeploying and reallocating resources in the budget. At least we had about 4 virtual meetings on this. High-level roundtable. I convened a roundtable meeting with stakeholders in government, civil society, and donor partners to explain the government's response to COVID-19 pandemic, as well as solicit their feedback. Disclosure of payments. To keep the public informed about government expenditure, we began publishing all payments and expenditure above a certain threshold. More still needs to be done here, especially when we realize that a sizable number of the civil service are not at work. Currently, some level of staff are at home due to COVID-19 protocols. Monitoring and evaluation. We increased our monitoring and evaluation process to ensure that we are not only getting value for money, but that we are deploying these resources to immediate use. To show government commitment to this, I led the inspection of projects across the country, from hospital equipment to rural road construction to the building of molecular labs. The IMAC web app. To sustain the monitoring and evaluation process and allow citizens to also provide feedback, we are building a web application that will allow citizens to report challenges with government projects and allow the government geotag all projects. Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. We successfully repealed and reenacted the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 with provision for disclosure of persons with significant control of registered entities. The circulars on procurement. The Secretary to Government and Bureau for Public Procurement continue to issue call circulars to all ministries, departments, and agencies to publish their procurement data on the Nigeria Open Contracting Portal in a timely manner. I am glad that based on this circular and in line with the specific activity listed in our National Action Plan, our civil society partners, Public-Private Development Center, and the African Network for Environment and Economic Justice, ANEJ, published 2 compliance rankings of MDAs. I hope to discuss the findings of the rankings and the challenges identified by the CSOs with the Secretary to Government of the Federation and the management of Bureau for Public Procurement. Extractive Sector Beneficial Ownership Register. The Beneficial Ownership Register of companies operating in the extractive sector continues to enjoy steady uptake and remains an integral part of the road ahead. Revision of the second National Action Plan. We revised our second National Action Plan to respond to the challenges posed by COVID-19. Speaking about the road ahead, we have gathered here to brief the media about the design and development of an open register of beneficial owners of companies as part of our efforts to keep all stakeholders abreast of this process, ensure that their input is captured in a way that we develop a register that works for everyone. When I accepted the responsibility of overseeing Nigeria's open government partnership process, one of the first briefings I received was from Alhaji Garba Abubakar, the Registrar General of the Corporate Affairs Commission. We discussed and strategized on accelerating the President's assent to the CAMA 2020, the development of this register, and ongoing discussions with partners. I committed then, and I commit myself here, to support this effort to fulfill His Excellency's promise to build a beneficial ownership register. When Sam Woodok was talking, you did mention about the UK experience, and I want to let you know that apart from the CAMA law that has been put in place, just to underscore the importance of beneficial ownership to this government, we are making all efforts to become members of the Beneficial Ownership Forum, the Leadership Forum. I want to thank the Nigeria Economics Summit Group for the tremendous work they did with other partners in the passage of the CAMA 2020 bill, and ask that you keep the private sector actively involved in the process. I wish to recognize the support CAC received from open ownership in the review of the annual returns forms of the CAC and their commitment to provide technical support for the process. To ensure that the funding challenge for the development of this register is minimized, the Global Support Unit of the Open Government Partnership, through the Multi-Donor Trust Fund, awarded a grant of $400,000 to Nigeria. This grant is managed by the World Bank, and we are at the final stages of documentation for the release of this grant. I am grateful to my dear friend, Sanjay Pradhan, the CEO of Open Government Partnership, and his entire team in Washington for their tireless interest in the success of Nigeria. Let me speak briefly about the Open Government Partnership Multi-Donor Trust Fund. The Open Government Partnership, with the support of development partners and working together with the World Bank, established the OGP Multi-Donor Trust Fund to support World Bank client countries and local entities that participate in OGP or intend to become eligible to participate in OGP. With the support of French Development Agency, the Government of Canada, and the United Kingdom's Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, the Multi-Donor Trust Fund provides awards on a competitive basis to national and local participants with a multi-stakeholder forum and to partners who will support the learning and building of evidence of impact of OGP commitments. We are grateful for the support we have received from the UK Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. They have provided financial and human resource support for OGP in Nigeria and the Nigerian Open Government Partnership Secretariat since inception. The UK also made a substantial grant to the Multi-Donor Trust Fund with the mandate to invest heavily in countries like Nigeria. Despite the impact of COVID-19, the UK recommitted to supporting us in the journey to be open, transparent, and accountable. The National Steering Committee, as outlined in the grant, will receive regular briefing from CAC as well as supervise and monitor utilization of the grant. With this, I'd like to assure you that the utilization of the grant for the development and deployment of the register will be transparent and documented for the purpose of accountability. I also want to use this opportunity to thank members of the OGP Secretariat in Nigeria for a job well done. Without further ado, I'd like to join my other colleagues to welcome you to this very important and timely event, and also thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to attend to issues that are pertinent to the growth and development of our nation. God bless you, and thank you for listening.
Mr. Boss Mustafa for his keynote address. Can we give him a round of applause, please?
Please take your seats. The Honorable Minister of State, Budget and National Planning, the representative of the Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, the Chief Operating Officer of NESG, the representative of the Honorable Minister of Sports, Youth and Sports Development, the CEO, PPDC, non-state actors, incoming Open Government Partnership Co-Chair, Mrs. Nkem Ilo, the Country Director, World Bank, the representative of His Excellency, the British High Commissioner, the CEO, Open Government Partnership Global Support Unit, the Registrar General, Corporate Affairs Commission, the Executive Secretary of NAITI, members of the Open Government Partnership, National Steering Committee, and members of the Open Government Partnership Secretariat, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press, good afternoon. I will start first by apologizing for coming into the meeting. It's not in my character to attend meetings midway, but typical of every Monday you get conflicting programs. I had to rush and attend to other exigencies of duty, and immediately after my remarks, I would be rushing out to attend to other meetings. So I apologize to our distinguished guests, particularly our donor partners and leaders that have committed their time and resources to come and share in this very auspicious occasion that is designed to unveil to the Nigerian public one of several efforts by President Muhammadu Buhari to promote and institutionalize a more accessible, responsive, and accountable government to the people for the benefit and betterment of the nation. Permit me to congratulate the Global Open Government Partnership community for keeping with its tradition and dedicating the third week of May, starting from today, 17th of May 2021, to expanding the frontiers of government and citizen engagement in positively shaping and overseeing governance. The theme for this year's Open Government Partnership Week, I call a global call to action to transform the way government serves citizens, end of quote. Resonates with this administration's commitment to making sure that all Nigerians participate in the activities of government on the basis of open and credible information from the appropriate source. I therefore wish to also seize this opportunity to commend the Honorable Minister of State Budget and National Planning and his team for providing the leadership to ensure that government adheres to its commitment to the Open Government Partnership Initiative. The adaptation of this global theme to a national theme, re-engineering government institutions and society for transparency, accountability, and inclusive citizens' participation, and ongoing efforts to make sure that the remaining 20 states of the Federation, as well as the Federal Capital Territory, join the OGP family in Nigeria is further a testament to our commitment as a nation to internalize open government principles across the country. As you may all recall, at the 2016 London Anti-Corruption Summit, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari announced Nigeria's membership of the Open Government Partnership as a show of his commitment to involve every Nigerian, especially the civil society, in the fight against corruption. This was to further strengthen the administration's work on anti-corruption with partners in the civil society, private sector, bilateral and donor partners to ensure inclusive and participatory governance. At that summit, President Muhammadu Buhari, amongst other commitments, pledged to establish a public central register of company beneficial owners' information, work towards the full implementation of the open contracting data standard principles in the award of government contracts, and strengthen asset recovery legislation. Today, we will be sharing with Nigerians progress made in implementing the commitments made by Mr. President to the international community. The road to Nigeria's beneficial ownership transparency clearly demonstrates the positive results of the tremendous commitments of partners and resources collectively put together towards the progress made so far. Nigeria has collaboratively devised several strategies and worked towards the implementation of this commitment through our Open Government Partnership Action Plan, which is now in its second iteration. On my part, I have issued quite a couple of circulars to all ministries, extra-ministerial departments and agencies, directing them to comply with procurement guidelines and ensure the timely publication of procurement data on the Nigeria Open Contracting Portal. To help the relevant stakeholders in the implementation of the Beneficial Ownership Register understand the work ahead, a team from the Ministry of Justice, Corporate Affairs Commission, and the Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative immediately undertook a study of the United Kingdom Company House to understudy the UK Open Register with a view to understand the legislation, systems, and processes guiding its development. The report of the finding laid out the steps we needed to take to fulfill our commitment to build an open register of companies. We are grateful for the support received from the government of the United Kingdom during this study tour and for sharing their experience and knowledge with us. It was obvious that we needed to review our laws, especially the Companies and Allied Matters Act 1990, to provide legal authorization to the Corporate Affairs Commission to collect information about the beneficial owners of registered entities. We immediately set out the process of amending this very important law by repealing and reenacting the Company and Allied Matters Act 2020, which was signed into law by President Muhammad Buhari. The Corporate Affairs Commission also revised the annual returns form to ensure that registered companies will now include beneficial ownership information in their filings with the CAC. We are grateful for the generous support received from the London-based Open Ownership for the revision to ensure the annual returns form meets global standard. Let me also commend our partner, the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, for providing technical support to the National Assembly for the speedy passage of this law. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, with this law in place, CAC immediately began stakeholder consultations within and outside of government to intimate them of the new provision of the law and the plans for the development of the register with a view to gather their input. I have been told that this consultation will continue to roll out the process of building this register to ensure that all stakeholders are kept abreast and that a world-class register will be developed eventually. As a leader in the Open Government Partnership, there is a clear global interest in what we do with regards to this register. And this is our opportunity to share our process for others, especially countries in Africa looking to build similar registers. I want to thank the Global Support Unit of Open Government Partnership and the World Bank for extending funding support to the Corporate Affairs Commission for the design and development of the register through the Multi-Donor Trust Fund. There is still enormous work to be done on this road to Nigeria's beneficial ownership transparency, and the Registrar General of the Corporate Affairs Commission will provide further details about what has been done so far, what lies ahead. Our promise is to ensure commitment to implementing progressive ideas that would ensure sustainable transparency and national development. With the law backing us and our hands on the plow, we commit to finishing this register by the end of the year. I would like to commend all the stakeholders who have made concerted efforts at different stages to get us to this phase of the work. In addition to the stakeholders already mentioned above, the federal government of Nigeria is also grateful to the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CILAC, and other stakeholders for their support so far, and we would continue to count on them. I therefore call on all of you to remain committed to this process, as it would contribute significantly in removing the opacity in our business environment, especially the high-yielding revenue sources. And as I wish all of us a fruitful Open Government Week, I enjoin all participants to participate effectively in the discussions that will take place in the next 3 days, and look forward to the outcome of this meeting. I also want to reiterate the commitment of the federal government to this process, which would further improve our fiscal governance, especially in the areas of budgeting and procurement. Having said that, I want to thank you most sincerely for your kind attention, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa. Can we give him another round of applause, please?